Hello and welcome to the E14 Gamecast, Emotionally 14's gaming podcast. I'm your host Rob Wade and I'm joined, as always, by Blake Harmer.
Bibbidi Bop Games.
My gaming rock. How's that? My pet rock. I don't know. And Brad Harmer Barnes with us.
Nice rolling sound.
Nice rolling sound. If we ever do a tabletop podcast dedicated, that will be what it was called. Yeah. I've decided this a long time ago.
I'm up
gaming
for that.
rock.
Yeah.
That'd be like.
It means I'll have nothing to say on Gamescast.
Well, you know, maybe when it gets to the stage where we can just create podcasts on a whim, we're all doing it full time, and it will be your job. So I'll just be like, oh really? You can't find something to talk about on Gamescast? Maybe you will have to.
Yeah.
Or just not be on that one, I guess.
This is my job.
Yeah.
I'm promotion.
Yeah, cool. So, a couple of things before we start. So, for those who haven't seen it on the website...
Talk again.
No, you're like this. So, for those who haven't seen it on the website and only listen to the podcast, you will be pleased to know that as of January 2018, E14 has welcomed Suppressing Fire into the fold. So, all of the Suppressing Fire contributors are coming to join us at Emotionally 14. They're going to do their bits and pieces there. And we're really happy about that. It's obviously, it's always nice to have more people in the pool. And, yeah, exactly. And it's all about games. So, we'll get what it means for you guys listening now. If you're a tabletop person, you're going to get more of that. If you're not a tabletop person, there's going to be more stuff. And we all like more stuff.
Yay!
We live in this is one of those worlds.
If Dave and Robbie want to do this at some point?
Dave and Robbie, if they're interested in being on the show, I could most certainly make that work. And like I say, maybe that will be the catalyst for Dice Rolling Sound, the full-time podcast.
Well, I just thought a Gamecast would be a good way to introduce them.
Well, we can always alternate sometimes.
It's just a thought.
Yeah, it's a great thought, Blake. Yeah, it's a good thought. Have more of those. Is breathing part of your conscious thought process? I've been so bad to you. You're working so hard.
Yeah. Oh,
bless. Anyway,
out.
Anyway, so
no, that's something else.
Speaking of rubbing our dicks, I got reviews. So, a couple of people have been kind enough to review us on iTunes, so I'm going to talk about those for a bit. So the first review comes from the Duck-Sized Horses podcast.
That's a really good podcast.
It's a brilliant name. It's a really good show, actually. They do, basically the whole premise is a would you rather, and it's usually something entertaining like, what's cool about them actually is they start off with a very basic premise, and they just go off into the weeds. I think they're kind of... there are spirit duck-sized horses.
Okay.
Because they, their last episode was at the time of recording was, would you rather lose your hearing or your sense of smell? It's two of your senses. I don't know if it's exactly those two, but they did. Which one of your senses out of these two would you be able to do without more? Mm-hmm. And from there, they just go off into the weeds on like all sorts of weird conversations about weird facts about senses and things like that. And it's great. It's just really, really kind of nice. The good kind of podcasts, hopefully like this one, where people can sit and feel like they're part of the conversation, even if they're not directly chipping in.
I often feel when I listen to Gamecast, often I feel like I'm part of a conversation.
Sometimes you are
I know.
directly.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that on the ones you're not on?
No.
All right. Well, we'll just gloss over that. So the Duck-Sized Horses podcast were kind enough to write. As someone who wouldn't necessarily describe themselves as a gamer, I was unsure going in to listen to this podcast, but on the whole, I found it a great listen. The hosts are very clued up, and I feel like I know loads more now. Would definitely recommend if gaming is your thing. However, if it's not, have a listen anyway, because you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's nice. So, we give the appearance of being clued up, which is always nice to have. And our second review comes from the Fact Up podcast, which is part of the, much like Duck-Sized Horse, is part of the Britpod scene. Okay. If you haven't already, have a look at BritPodScene.com, Twitter, Britpod scene. There are a bunch of awesome shows in there, like Fact Up. Okay. And Fact Up were kind enough to write, great for gaming heads, passionate and informed discussion from gamers for gamers. This podcast is great at capturing how it feels to be a gamer, with reflections on pros and cons, bugs, grappling with ever-evolving controllers, frustrations and passions, all wrapped in a conversation and accessible way. Which is kind of nice.
Sounds like us.
It feels like the E14 ethos is, any subject matter is presented in a conversational, accessible way with a lot of cursing, dick jokes and so on, and, random tangents, because that's kind of what we do. Mm-hmm. So if you've never listened to the show before, that's kind of what you're in for, that stuff. Yeah. We do have a couple of questions, so we'll go through those maybe. A couple of quick ones which are really quick to answer, and they're kind of more for me, but if you guys have opinions on them, I'm very happy to hear them. Okay. So, Kat, one of our resident contributors, writes the Land of Post-Apocalypse and Dystopia, which is crack and read on emotionally14.com, which is also a crack and read.
I agree.
Yeah. I thought you might.
Yeah.
So
contractually obligated to say so now.
Yes, Brad.
Yes.
Yeah. I put Blake in charge of HR. I hope that's okay.
Still better than Brian.
Had a reshuffle. Oh, God, yeah, he was fucking dire. Do we not happen to him?
He bought a trolley.
Yeah. Then we know exactly what happened to him, don't we? All right, so Kat inquired about whether or not we'd be tempted to do VidCon or MCM if our YouTube subscriber count built up sufficiently high. So VidCon
do we need a high YouTube subscriber count to do that, or could we not just do it anyway?
VidCon is a YouTube convention, so ideally, you could turn up.
You just pay for your exhibitor space, same as everyone else.
Turn up.
I could do it. I've not even got a YouTube channel. Fuck it, I'll do it. Yeah,
all right.
I'll go. Okay, I'll do VidCon on my own. You can just sit and watch me play The Witcher for 4 hours.
I think, to be fair, I would watch that.
That might be fucking hilarious.
It's mostly me just screaming at Roach, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
Stop clipping into a tree.
Yeah. I'd be up for doing that. One of my kind of unofficial life goals is to appear at some sort of panel in the kind of podcasting and creative context. I've never had a chance. Would love to. So that's one way of making it happen. That would be one way of doing it. So I'd be game. The YouTube thing, I think for 2018, my goal for that is to get more gaming videos on there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something I'd hope to do. Even if it's one a month, it's better than what I've got, which is not much.
I need to figure out how to stream from my PS4 so I can do some stuff. Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I can talk you through.
Just a series called Brad Shouts at Things.
Fine. I can walk you through recording stuff at some point. It's nice. It's pretty straightforward once you get going once you do it a few times, you'll get into the rhythm of it.
I know Blake did one, didn't he? Where he did
Wasteland 2.
Thank you. Yeah, I really enjoyed his.
I did start recording a couple of XCOM 2, but that hasn't actually made it over to Rob yet.
Record me playing.
You know what you should do is you should record.
I think we need to get a group session.
Playing Blood Bowl is just me screaming, "Oh, for the love of every 30 seconds!"
Turn over.
Yep.
Fucking
oh my god! Speaking of which, I started playing Blood Bowl 2 because we played Blood Bowl.
We played the
tabletop one the other night, which was a jolly good time.
Such a good game.
Yeah, it was excellent. And I went home and I was like, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to play Blood Bowl 2 on my Xbox because I haven't played it. I've played it like once or twice since I got it, and I was like, you know what? I fancy a game of Blood Bowl 2, so I'm going to load it up. So I went through the campaign, and the difficulty spike, I texted you about this, seems to jump from...
But you can't do every episode, let it go.
Game 1 to 3 was like the other team forgotten how to ball. It's like they not only did they forget about how to handle the ball, they also seemed to forget that they needed to obtain the ball, because I was able to run one person up to the end zone and just hover at the line before the touchdown line for 8 turns.
Really?
I know, is it 8 turns? 6 turns. So I managed to get up there in turn 2 or 3 and hang there until turn 8 when I just hit a touchdown and hit half time. And I did that again in the second half to the same team. Then I did it again in the first and second half to the next team.
They weren't going for the ball. They were just
they were basically just checking people all the way through. And with orcs, that's fine. But with what was the other one I played against? Dwarves. You feel like they would try a bit harder. Yeah. Apparently, I don't know why maybe that's racist. Who knows? Then I play the high elves, and suddenly it goes, "You're on your own, fucker." Everything fails. My catchers forget how to catch. My throwers forget how to throw. And I wouldn't mind, except their stats haven't gone up and down. They've stayed exactly the fucking same. And it's just like, oh, hey, I've made your team just have some sort of episode. They've had some sort of, weird breakdown, and now they can't ball.
Yeah, I must have never played to that point where the difficulty spikes. I think I played like the first 2 games.
Yeah.
And then I would I'll play a bit more later, and then I just never did.
Yeah. Game 4 or 5 is where it ramps up considerably. As I say, it's just I wouldn't have minded if it eased me in, but it eased me into the gameplay concepts like tackle zones, turnovers, and things like that. So in the first game, you can only get turnovers by falling when you run too far and hit going for it and fail. By the time you get to game 3, it's also for attacker down and things like that. But by game 4. It's basically the normal rules. You go full on kind of, basically then you go bareback and you're not the giving tree. So, yeah, I basically got my ass handed to me by a pack of high elves, and I've not played the game again since. I wasn't bitter about it. It just seemed like a big jump.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big old
I think I
difficulty
did that,
curve.
and after that I just play one-off matches because the campaign does spike.
Yeah, well, I need to get my Dark Elf team going because that's the one I want when the tabletop version comes out, and they have yet to, but I'm still optimistic because they're in the Season 1 rulebook.
Yeah, High Elves are out, so it can't be that far behind.
No, it can't be. I can't imagine they are, but that's my plan. But yeah, that was just a random aside, you know. So that's Kat. Hopefully that answers your question. That would be something we seem to. We seem to all be kind of fine with this.
I know MCM do a YouTube bit, and we are, you know, there's a YouTube group that Kat's friends with that do have a stall out there, and I think included in the price of getting an exhibition stall out there, they also get the opportunity to do like a conference, like actually have a talk.
So you can basically present.
So you could have
people.
a video.
So we could just do it and record a Crazy Train.
Yeah, we could. We could do
people could come in. People can ask questions to.
You should.
Yeah,
a live Crazy Train.
Play Battletech live. That's a sure way to enshrine it.
Presents a seminar on the difference between Elder Sign, Eldritch Horror. Listen to a Crazy Train.
Yeah. Well, you should anyway. It's a fucking good show.
Yeah.
Especially last episode.
It's
really
like
good.
this, only we talk about games occasionally.
Yeah. I think that seems like something we're all kind of up for.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if it's something you know more about than I do, then feel free to send me any information that you know of that might help me to make that a reality.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
Go on.
Maybe it's
Now.
maybe Kat.
Now. Go on.
Come on.
I don't care what you're doing.
It's hard for me to edit live. It's a tremendous strain on my wrists.
We know you're listening to this on the train.
Crazy.
We know you're not doing anything right now.
Yeah, it's true. So just look it up on your phone. That's it. Open up the browser. Close those tabs. Yeah. And make sure to delete your history before Blake sees.
Yeah.
You freak. And but let's say if you know, I'm not very well up on this stuff. So if anybody knows how to make these things a reality, then feel free to email them over to robert@emotionally14.com or podcast@emotionally14.com. We can do either. That's great. So Kat also asks, have you thought on the related subject? Have you thought about doing any collaborations with local YouTubers?
Isn't the whole point of YouTube the fact they're local made completely irrelevant?
It does, but at the same time, it's a lot easier to coordinate being in each other's videos if you're nearby. Geography wise. If you're talking just like, you know, commenting back and forth and recommend, like we've had
in terms of physical production,
we've had E14 Toy Box videos that have been like asked for by other channels and things like that.
Yeah, bigger YouTubers will go to other people's and be on their videos, and then they come over and be on their videos.
Or in my case, bigger YouTubers will say, "You make some content." I'm just like, this is not the way around this is supposed to work. Bully. I kid.
Bully to you, sir.
I kid. They were nothing but pleasant. But yeah, to say it's never something I've. As we were talking about this before we recorded. I think maybe that's one of those things that I've always been up for, and maybe just never made apparent that I'm up for it. So if people are interested in doing that stuff, appearing on the show, being part of the YouTube channel, if you just want to become part of Emotionally 14 as one of the contributors, these things are all open and always have been. So let's say maybe I've not been as good as I could have been at telling people this stuff, but if you want to get involved, email us over.
We're a DIY platform. Just show us what you got.
You know, all the stuff we do is at our own expense. Yeah. So we're not making any money off this. Yeah. Keep that in mind when you apply.
We won't give you any money.
Exactly. Yeah. So you'd be doing it for your own enjoyment.
Fun.
You'd be doing it for your own enjoyment. Yeah. But if that's the kind of thing you dig doing and you want to join up with us, then we're open to suggestion. Yeah. Oh my. And then finally, on a related note, have Emotionally 14 thought about streaming live on Twitch? So Twitch is like YouTube but gaming, and you can do either live or pre-record. Okay. Earlier on, you did use the words, I don't know what half these questions mean.
Yeah,
we've done half.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So I'd used a process of elimination.
No, that's fair. No,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, yes.
You have this wonderful tone about you when you talk about video game stuff to me, which is half informative and half, the little tabletop guy thinks he's people.
I just want you to love it like
for
I do.
tabletop stuff as well.
Yes, this is true, actually. Yeah, that's true.
I'm familiar with the concept, and I haven't indulged myself.
Yes, I've not explored Twitch tabletop as a method because I've not, to be fair, I've not managed to successfully light a normal video, let alone figure out how to light something like a live stream, live play session.
Know where to start.
No, again, if people are, people know how to do this and are happy to help a brother out.
I might just do an audio show. I'll play something on my own and just do an audio transcript
narrative driven.
If it's narrative, most of the games I play are.
Yeah, there you go.
What I'd love to do is record us playing Mansions of Madness, which is a bit like Eldritch Horror and Elder Sign.
Some might say the same game.
Just record it.
It's not bitter.
As like a baseline or just like notes, and then from that make a full audio drama.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think that would work really well.
If people, I mean, you know, people listening, if you like these ideas and you want to hit and you want to see them realised, tell us. That's all we need. We need an indication that we're not just spinning our wheels in the pissing wind.
Yeah,
that's all we need.
Which is how most games of X-Wing end up.
There is that.
Because everyone's doing a Catherine Wheeler death, jolly good.
Yeah, but I say again, I have an account with Twitch. I've never actually used it because I've just never had the chance to sit down and puzzle through it. Yeah. Creating an account takes very little time, but ultimately anything else is a bit more of a grind. But you know, again, if it's something people want, then I'm quite happy. If
you don't want to grind, you can always just pay for the loot crates.
Well, there you go. Maybe there's a way of doing that. Yeah. I just buy subscribers. Oh wait, yeah, I can.
Yeah,
I get
can.
Instagram about it all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Kat,
random Yahoos in China follow my account. Jolly good.
Well, you know, that's all good. Welcome, random Yahoos. You know.
Oh, shit, sorry.
That's all right. You okay?
Just crying a little bit.
So Kat, if those, hopefully those have answered your questions. And let's say if you have any if you're listening and you have any interest in doing any of the things I've mentioned above, then feel free to get in touch with us, and we will, step up to the streets.
Yeah.
Step up 3D.
We're a DIY outfit. Just
exactly.
Tell us what you want to do.
Step up 4.
We'll help
I think
make it happen.
Fourth one.
Yeah, I think there was.
Yeah, just try ideas and we'll work with you to do that. That's what we're for. Especially
Tom. I know you're listening, Tom, because you're a fan. And this is Tom and Jen that you met at Liverpool HorrorCon.
I remember them.
Tom, you approached me a while ago about a podcast idea. I want to hear it because I never got a chance to hear it. So, you know, I'm gonna mention you specifically. Yeah, that's it. Just, you know.
Or get in contact.
Get in touch.
Get contact.
It's a bit like get cunted. It's a bit too close.
It also sounded a little bit Klingon as well, didn't it?
It's like a cross between
actually means I'll have the latte,
That's
please.
a hurricane kick noise you just made.
It was like a cross between that and get cucked, which is even worse.
Is it?
Yeah, kind of.
Depends on your perspective.
True. This is true. A lot of these things are subjective.
Yeah.
Art is often that way.
Depends on your perspective. A bit like a cuckold.
Yeah. Like, I am actually quite tempted. We're talking about video recording, and you mentioned XCOM 2. I'm actually quite tempted to upload it to Pornhub. Man gets fucked by aliens. Anyway, so we had a couple of questions that were about specific subjects.
Okay.
So Paul, number one superfan, Paul J. Our favourite Paul, wherever he lives.
Yeah. Okay.
How's that? Best thing about wherever he lives.
Best Paul outside of Medway.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. So he asks, what games from 2017 are still in their shrink wrap or the digital equivalent?
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, that's unfortunate because I should have known these were things were off limits before I put the call out for questions.
It doesn't help that I've recently bought a massive pile of games.
You can exclude Christmas purchases.
Can I exclude PS Plus games because I never get around to those?
Yes, because you are not technically. We'll loophole this. You're not technically buying them.
Upon me.
Yeah, you're not technically buying them. Money's not changing hands. How's that?
Games that I haven't yet played. Oh, my tabletop pile is going to be depressing.
Or awesome, depending on your perspective.
Yeah.
Mine's expansion to The Walking Dead.
I
have the core set.
So many miniatures, so much Devil's Run stuff, so much AVP stuff. Terminator minis game.
Yeah, I bought one of those.
Yeah, because a friend of ours managed to get a really good price on those.
I
think I bought one online for like a tenner, and then he suddenly had some even cheaper.
Yeah,
and so I just
had more models.
Yeah, basically that was my exact thinking.
Sure.
Yeah, for the price. It was cheaper than buying models on their own, and you could just play bigger games with it. Especially now you've got a set as well. Yeah. We can do some.
There you go.
Hench post Judgment Day action.
Yeah,
which is also on Pornhub. I'm assuming.
Woman gets speared by man. Humanity gets fucked by robots. Copyright strike for dun dun dun.
Loads of Blood Bowl teams I haven't got around to yet. I'm still working on my human team. Yes. It's gotten to the point now where my daughter's sleep cycle is kind of stable enough I can get painting done on a semi-regular basis.
Yeah, I know.
At the moment, my paint pile is so bad at the moment, I'm committing to doing 6 nights a week painting until I've taken some of it down. Yeah, because it's just like, otherwise I'm going to go to Sloot and I'm not going to want to buy anything, and who goes to Sloot not wanting to buy anything?
Well, quite. It means we just appreciate your time here that much more.
I think the only video game I have from 2017 that I haven't got around to playing yet is one you bought me, Hidden Agenda.
Yes.
It's because of the baby as well. I want to be able to sit down and play that for 3 hours for an evening with a couple of friends over. And her bedtime is gradually getting earlier as she gets older. She's kind of going to bed about 9:30 now. When she starts going to bed like about 7, 7:30, which will happen, that's when I want to have people over and play that.
That's cool.
The only game I have left over from 2016 is I still have Sherlock Holmes and the Devil's Daughter, which Blake bought me for Christmas, but unfortunately he bought it for me at the same time my mum and dad bought me The Witcher 3, and as a result has not yet gotten a look in.
No, fair.
But do look forward to me screaming at Watson in the future season.
Well, how are you behind me?
I think other than that, I think I've a lot of review copy I need to catch up on, but again because my home life's making it different.
Yeah, well, you know.
But I haven't been buying a lot of tabletop stuff, but I haven't gotten on the table pretty quick after buying it because I've tried to be like, I'm not just going to let this gather dust like some robot miniatures games end up doing.
Oh,
Blake, what do you do? Any robot miniatures games you aren't playing?
Not even from 2017. Fuck you.
loopholes, bitch.
You haven't played Terminator yet?
Oh
yeah, I technically bought that with you.
Yeah. I'm tempted to buy one of those like ridiculous like Mavic £1,500 drones to make a hunter killer out of.
Nice.
Just to kind of really mess with people who are really into drones.
Yeah.
You did that, really?
Yeah.
In terms of, I think the majority of my unplayed pile are actually older games.
Okay.
So they're not really 2017. I'm not sure because it felt like both series came out really, really quickly. So Batman.
Was
that actually 2016?
Second series was 2017, I think.
I didn't know the first series was the year before.
I think it was late 2016.
I think it was it was fewer than a year between the two releases for sure.
I'm pretty sure that Batman Series 1 was late 2016.
I thought it was like August, September, I thought, and I've got a feeling the second series dropped like the June.
That sounds about right,
Yeah, it was definitely it was definitely not close enough. He went, seems quick.
Close. Yeah.
Especially seeing the amount of time it took him to do stuff like Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us.
Yeah,
I did the first episode in like just before.
Yeah,
really liked it, and then I found out that it was given to me as PlayStation Plus anyway. And I was like,
yeah, I accept.
Yeah, that happens.
Again, one I recently traded in because even though I hadn't played it, they've now given Pluses.
Mankind Divided.
Yeah, other older games. I mean, there's ones that I've given them like a little bit of a go. So I mean, like I tried Halo Wars 2 and I played a tiny bit of that, but again, put it down. I need to go back and do Quantum Break properly because I just put
it's worth a go. I know it got a little bit of.
I did the first bit in the first episode. Watched the first episode and I went, "Oh, that was good. I'll play more later." And I just never did. It wasn't that I disliked it. I just never got round to.
It's worth a go. I know it didn't get as much love as Alan Wake because, quite frankly, it's not as good. But ultimately, it is still worth a play.
Yeah,
and it's got Lance Reddick in it, which I just remembered. So
was he in that?
I mentioned
he's in Pitch Black, isn't he?
Sure. Yeah, but I just remembered he's in that as well, isn't he, with Aidan Gillen, because he plays the sort of second in command. In the corporation.
I must admit, it was a while ago since I did the first bit of it.
You familiar with Quantum Break?
I'm aware of.
It's the one that's the 5-part episodic game and a 5-part episodic TV series interspersed.
Yeah.
Or 4 parts, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's got
a
TV.
a PlayStation game called Late Shift or something advertised a few times recently.
That name rings a bell.
It's like a full motion video, choose your own adventure.
Yeah, maybe that is why. I've heard of it. I don't know much about it, though.
I've seen it come up a few times. It's always been a few quid more than I was willing to gamble on a game I've not heard much about. But I'll get it eventually.
I played, it reminded me of the old FMV stuff.
Like Night Trap and stuff.
Yeah, like The Bunker I played.
Oh, okay.
I really want to try that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's only a couple of hours long, but I enjoyed it for the...
Is it basically like a game book?
Yeah, it's got 2 endings. It's got a good ending and a bad ending. It's got, That it's got some nice little bits and
more like what's the UI like?
It's sort of. It reminds me of the old games where it was it's all FMV.
Yeah.
You're walking into a room. There'll be a lot of standing around while you're clicking on things.
Like a point and click.
Yeah, it's a point and click adventure. So you're looking for things in drawers, puzzles, and stuff like that. It's not a particularly difficult game, but it held my interest for
Good story.
Yeah, it's simple, but I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it for the price I paid for it. Which is a greater deal of money, but I thought it's only 2 hours long. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
If I'd paid the full price, because I think it did come out at quite
expensive,
like 12-15 quid, I think I would have felt a bit ripped off.
It's more than that, all right.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you can pick it up for like £5 now.
Okay,
probably.
And I think it's definitely worth that.
Okay. So what other games do you not play? Not from 2017.
No, as I said, 2017 games. I've been on quite the ones I've
been pretty good on those.
Bought. I've been fairly on top of. I mean, there's games that I haven't bought that I do want to get eventually, like. Yeah, like
otherwise that's a big list.
Yeah, like Nier Automata, for example. I wanted to get, but I haven't got around.
I thought that was pronounced Automato. I thought the whole thing was, is this person
I had this whole
close?
thing because I thought it was Automata, but then everyone said, why are you pronouncing it like a fucktard? So I just went...
I thought it was Automata. But
yeah.
I thought the whole thing of the game was, is that person Nier or are they a tomato? I thought it was like Jackbox, like a quiz game.
Yeah.
Nier or tomato? I want to.
Now
I want that. Now I want that to be a game.
Yeah, well,
maybe I need a coding project. Maybe I'll keep that up with that. Nier or tomato.
Yeah, I'm
Look
trying
forward
to
to that.
The final level could just be a tomato quite close to you.
Yeah, so I suppose
near the camera.
Yeah, because I suppose apart from Halo Wars 2, which even then I've played a little bit of, most of my 2017 games have been that they're all like older 2016 games, like Force Awakens Lego, for example. I still haven't played.
No, I haven't finished that off.
Or Jurassic Park.
I've stopped.
That's like the shortest game ever.
The thing,
I think it is.
I said this at the time. I remember I wrote a piece about it on E14, which you can probably find
on
around
E14.
A few months before the game came out. Where I was saying, is there enough there to actually make a full game out of? And I don't think there was.
The majority of them have been trilogies or four-part movies.
Trilogies, 4-part movies. They've also done like the comic book ones, but then obviously comic books can go from fucking anywhere.
They can take it as long as they like.
Yeah. Whereas Lego Star Wars Force Awakens is prescriptive.
I presume it was just the third length of any of the other Star Wars games.
I guess so. I don't know.
I think apparently they squeezed a lot of level there, but how long?
Great, so gone back to the halcyon days of every movie tie-in game having a construction site level.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Remember that? Every movie tie-in, we better stick it because there was an excuse to have some platforms.
It was easier to program as well.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember Carl Reese running around a construction site for 4 hours, but apparently he did.
Dun, 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 dun. You need bricks. I'll get bricks. You need wood. I'll get balsa. It
would be great if one time Michael Beer managed to do this show with us.
Yep.
It'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be good.
We'll go really excited. I've got a special guest, and we're going to be Michael Bean, and we'll be like, I'm hoping for Steve Coogan, but fine.
Or we're just like, do the thing about wood.
Yeah, Michael Bean is just like, I get that a lot.
What song about wood? The one we made. I see how this won't work. Yeah.
Well, in terms of my Christmas and birthday purchases, I did
quite a few.
Pick a few up, which are going to be a bit. I think that's going to keep me busy for quite.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And what's the standout for you?
Well, I've picked up Battlefront 2.
Okay. That'll keep you busy for a while.
Which keep me busy for a while.
Especially if you don't want to spend money on it.
Yeah, especially if I got grind.
Yeah.
Oh, no. My profile and grinder.
Get grunned.
Yeah. Shorter game, but I like it because it's more arcadey. I bought a game called Nex Machina, which is made by Housemarque.
Oh, cool.
It's basically if Resogun was to Defender, this is Robotron. It even has some of the same.
Not played Resogun. I think you might dig it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to dig it. We'll dig it out sometime.
It's basically Defender if it was on steroids.
Okay. Yeah, I know Defender. I'm from the past.
Is it? Yeah,
we're all from the
past.
And
Defender too.
We're all from the past.
Pro tip. Exactly the same game.
One had a planet and one had just a straight thing or something.
Oh yeah, it's a graphics upgrade. It counted as a sequel back in the day.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah, back then it probably did.
Speaking of from the past, I have a fun fact.
Okay.
That I heard this on the Roman Podcast, which is a show I listen to. A friend of mine, Rob Cast, runs, and Guy Roman's also a friend. Hello, guys, if you're listening. I hope Rob at least is. at midnight on January the 1st, 2018, every child was born in a different century to every adult.
What's it got to do with Defender?
We're talking about... we're talking about...
I like your expression then was, did I just time slip? Were we talking about Defender?
Yeah.
And I said that. Why would I say that?
Yeah.
No, it's like, there was something that made me think
go
of it.
off the rails on the wrong
podcast.
There's something that made me think
From
of
the
it.
past?
From the past. Yeah, you're from the from the past. Yeah, so it made me think about ages and came up with that. Okay, now nice. Thanks, guys. I think
that's right. Yeah,
that's some sort of episode.
Welcome back to the world.
Right, this is some sort of episode.
This is some sort of episode. Episode 34. Right. So, what's the standout one?
The other ones I've got waiting for me is I've recently picked up Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade.
I love that Monopoly game.
And Xenoblade, which is obviously
nice. Yeah, I played and finished Mario. I finished the story of Mario Odyssey, and it's fucking awesome. You'll love it.
Oh yeah, and cheaply I picked up Shadow Tactics and Divinity Original Sin, but the first one on there.
Oh, okay.
Yourself?
Yeah. I got South Park Fractured But Whole and Splatoon 2 for Christmas.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, yeah, I'm pleased about that. So
it feels a bit harsh to criticise games we've got for Christmas and haven't got around to playing yet, doesn't it?
Well, no, I was saying, the ones that are from 2017, it still counts.
Yeah,
that's why I said at the beginning you can exclude the ones from Christmas if you want, and the ones you bought since.
I think I had no choice but to include them because they're the only 2017 games I haven't played.
I've got a fair few board games that have not been played. My copy of Imperial Assault has been. I've taken the shrink wrap off, but haven't actually played the game yet. Okay. So I took it off just to have a look.
I haven't tried the app yet.
No, same actually. I think that maybe that's why I opened it up and had a look, was because I downloaded the app and I was like, I'm going to have a look and see what this ties in with. Okay. The app's cool though because you get to you add in all your extra characters and stuff that you've got. I have a few. Yes, I have 5 I think now. No expansions.
No, I've got all the box expansions. I think there's a few individual figures I'm missing still.
I was going to buy an expansion because there was a shop on eBay that I go to quite a lot for HeroClix, and they have other bits and pieces as well. And they had an Imperial Assault. I think the best bit, the Jabba's Palace one, the one with Boba Fett on the front, for £20.
Oh, nice!
And that was I thought that was a good deal. I think it said the only thing about it was it wasn't sealed, but it was new. Okay, none of the bits had been punched out, so I was like, I might get that. By the time I got round to it, it'd gone. So somebody else had the same idea. Yep, it happens.
Hope they've got a podcast.
Well, you'd hope so, or at least like an Instagram or something.
Everyone does.
One can but hope.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm trying to think. I've been pretty good. Like Switch games, I've been really good for playing the stuff I've bought. The only thing I haven't bought, I've bought and haven't played is I bought Stardew Valley for Switch, which is like a sort of indie game with like a farm simulator, but it's got sort of quirky kind of Japanese charm to it. It's based on the Harvest Moon games. Basically, it's like
I'm familiar with Neil Young's song of the same name.
It's pretty similar. Yeah. Yeah, if that's the one where he's like, grow carrots.
Man, this is too easy, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe for all we know, there's a parallel universe where every single Neil Young song is inspired by a video game.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Neil Young. What a dude.
Yeah. My
mum thinks he's a terrible songwriter and a really good singer. Huh. I don't listen to my mum a lot.
Yeah. For statements like that, I get it.
Yeah.
Again, much like you, Blake, I think most of the games I've got in there that haven't been started are ones I've bought before 2017. Like I've got GTA 5, which I've been using my system, the one I used, I think I've mentioned it on the show before, where I give Jen a number between 1 and however many games are in the cupboard that I haven't played, and then she picks a number at random from that selection. So if it's like 10 games, she picks a number between 1 and 10.
You mentioned it before.
I scroll through till I find that game and like, okay, I'm playing that, and I can't object because I haven't. It's been kind of thrust upon me.
The only other thing where I might have fallen behind would be stuff like Steam, but
no one
I ain't got
Steam.
a chance to count Steam in that sort of thing. I'll be
sure,
all fucking day.
As I'm sure you can appreciate from seeing my library,
on regular occasion.
From seeing my library, I don't count Steam.
Yeah.
Because if you count the ones I haven't played, I'm up to about 280.
Well, it's normally because I buy a bundle when I see one game I want, and it's just cheaper to buy the bundle
I'll get
than
that.
it is to buy
I'll
the
get
game.
that as well.
Yeah. Tell you
and
what,
then I've got 300 fucking games in my that I've never played on my Steam.
I need to remind me about bundles at the end of the show. Yeah, I'm the same. So humble, like buying bundles, humble bundles, bundle stars, whatever. All of those things all
Yeah,
sometimes they're really cheap.
Did I want to buy the Jingle Jam bundle? And I just went, oh yeah, that's what I need. More games I don't play.
No, but I will.
I did it last year. I didn't do it.
Because not donating to charity makes me feel like a bastard. That's how they get you. Yeah. Otherwise, I bought LA Noire since Christmas because the Switch. I remember saying to you last week that I was thinking about getting the Switch version because it seemed like fun, and I saw it in game for £25. I thought that was pretty good. And it's got all the DLC that I never got round to on the 360.
When I've played the DLC version on PS3, they actually put the DLC back into chronological order. So when you played through it, it was like the director's cut version.
Yeah,
it's really good.
I've got that to look forward to on Switch. Once I finish. It's either once I finish Skyrim or once I make enough of a dent that I'm like, I can leave this for a while and come back.
Would it be weird if they changed the ending?
It would be weird.
It's a really good ending.
It is a really good ending, yeah.
It's disappointing, but also really good.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a, I think that maybe that's the point.
Maybe, yeah.
No, but it nailed the genre perfectly.
Yeah, and another one that's fun. This ties into actually to a question about games we've been playing over the festive season that came from number one superfan Paul as well. I bought WWE 2K18 on my Switch. That is a game. It's certainly a game.
To be honest, because you've already told me your story.
Yeah.
When you said I'm your gaming rock, I did want to go, if you're smooth.
So basically, the thing about WWE 2K18 on the Switch is it's a fun game that badly needs a performance optimization round.
Yeah.
It's like...
wrestling through treacle.
Yeah, and if the ring fills up with wrestlers, it gets worse. Yeah. It's like wrestling in.
I've always said that
in a breeze block.
I am a boxing fan.
I just love canvas. So I recorded. I'll show this to you, Brad, because I've obviously I can't show it to the listeners, but I'm sure I can put it somewhere. If you know what I mean. I mean literally. So I recorded a video, which I'm going to show to Brad now. Of basically 30 seconds of...
Royal Rumble, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's basically a Royal Rumble. Now, keep in mind, as you're watching this, I'm not playing. I'm just watching at this point. But you can see it's just a little bit on the laggy side. Just enough to be noticeable.
Yeah, it's not...
This is with 4, and the number of wrestlers in the ring can go up to 6.
Okay.
And it just the performance just kind of degrades a bit when somebody's in the ring. The bit that's ridiculous is when in the Royal Rumble, when it counts down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 through and all that, and then they go and the music starts playing.
I do.
It pauses for a full second and a half because it's like I can't cope. Fucking hell.
It's turn-based wrestling game.
Kind of, yeah. It's like it does make me really want Fire Pro on the PS4 because that seems to be.
We all want Fire Pro.
Yeah, apparently it's coming soon in America.
I've been hearing that for 10 years or more.
Yeah, apparently it's coming soon in America. It is, I think, available on Steam, but it's fucking ridiculously priced. Yeah, I mean, I'd be tempted to get it if it meant we could play it together.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd just wait for a deal or a bundle or something.
I've got a few tabletop wrestling games. Might be fun actually.
Yeah, that works.
I've got. Legends of Wrestling, which is like a dice and chart-based management system. The idea is it's like almost like a role-playing game, really. You play as the on-screen booker because the matches aren't predetermined.
Yeah, it's like fancy fed.
Yeah, but you book the matches and then you can it's like a sandbox. You can try and make someone a champion or run a feud with it. That's kind of fun.
Like the GM mode in the old SmackDown
Very
games.
Much like
I loved that mode. I lost hours to that mode.
I'll dig the cards up.
And I built up the best feud, I thought, in wrestling history because it was like a 2-year-long program between Edge and Christian that culminated in a ladder match for the title at WrestleMania.
Nice.
And the more I pictured it, I was like, I want this to be real, and I'm disappointed it's not real.
Yeah, but it's quite a fun game if you get into the role-playing aspect of it because you have stuff like fights break out backstage.
Yeah,
but you're not thinking like a booker would. Off-screen, you're acting like an on-screen general manager, so you have kind of ways of setting this. You're an in-character if that makes sense. It's kind of fun sandbox, especially with a couple of mates as well, especially like big pay-per-views, and it's fun.
Cool.
I've got Wrestling, which is Avalon Hill's card game.
Yes.
It's a very take that rubbish, throw dice around and slam cards down game. It's a bit of fun because of the all the wrestlers are very obviously 1980s WWF wrestlers with the serial numbers filed off.
Yeah. Did you see there's a mobile game like that? I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
But it's like a sim
80s
game.
Mania Wrestling.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's very similar.
Yeah,
it's like you can tell when...
This is obviously Macho Man Randy Savage, because the drawing looks like Macho Man Randy Savage.
These are the rockers. Yeah. I know this because they're wearing tassels and one has blonde hair and one has dark hair. And you don't seem to be able to split them up until later on. Like in the 90s, one goes solo. Let me know how that works out for you, Marty Jannetty. To shreds, you say.
The other one I've got is a game called Rumble Slam.
Yes,
which
another one.
Is Blood Bowl Goes Pro Wrestling.
Because I've seen the miniatures, because they sell.
Miniatures are very nice.
They sell the base set, which comes with the ring and a couple of people.
It's like a mouse mat type ring. You can buy deluxe MDF ring as well, which is beautiful. The deluxe one is
what I've seen. Yeah. And then because it's in Darksphere, where I was mentioned, I talked about it in the Crazy Train. It's like a shop. It's not near where I work in terms of I can't walk there, but it's like a couple of tube stops over, so it's not too bad. But they had at least at one point the Rumble Slam and all the expansion wrestlers as well, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, some of the models are really nice. I've only got the base set, but it's a fun. It's more like about each player's got a team of 5 wrestlers, and it's a battle royal. You've got to chuck your opponents out of a ring to win.
Yeah.
And a few people have said, well, it's not really wrestling. And my response is, well, Blood Bowl isn't really American football. Do you want it to be? This is supposed to be
close
a rumble.
do you want it? Yeah.
And it works really well. It's got a dice-based chain mechanic like Eldritch Horror or one of those ones. And
muchness.
Yeah. But it's all the stuff you want wrestling to do is in there, like you can grapple, big guys can lift people over their heads and then they can try and wriggle out and rip them out ropes. It's
lifting people over their heads, Blake. We know a game about that, don't we?
Overcooked.
Fucking hell. It's not a million miles off, to be honest, in terms of raw fun. We played a game...
I will say, if by the 30-second mark you aren't ankle deep in raw beef, are you even playing Overcooked?
This is true. Get Chef.
We're not getting our hygiene certificate later.
Get Ramsey.
Especially when all the rats are stealing the shit as well.
There is that, so me and Blake played a game on Friday, which seems to be cut from a similar kind of mentality at the very least.
Yeah.
Have fun playing together even though you're kind of adversarial. Well, I mean, Overcooked is more like scream at each other even though you're supposed to be on the same team. Whereas this is definitely it's like you're up against each other, but you can have so much fun it doesn't matter. It's called Gang Beasts. And basically, the premise of the game is everybody controls one fighter. They're all made of jelly, kind of, sort of that look, sort of morph almost. One button controls your left arm. One button controls your right arm.
Yep.
You can tap them to punch, or you can grip by holding them down. One button lifts whatever you're holding above your head. One button does headbutts.
Okay.
One button runs and jumps. Am I missing any? That's it, right?
I think one of them randomly just makes you fall over. I don't know.
That's right.
I've never known the strategical use for it.
It looks like you could theoretically play possum with it, but all I ever did was use it to chuck people over the edge. And it's a bit like Smash Brothers style thing. Your objective is you're on a arena. And it might be shaped like the roof of a building. It might be a furnace or like a pit.
Might be fighting on speeding trucks.
You might be fighting on speeding trucks. The objective is to be the last person left on that arena.
Okay.
So if you're on the subway station, you throw them in front of a train.
Sounds a bit sumo-like.
Yeah. In fact, there's a lot of that to it. Especially when you're in the early stages and you're just punching each other, trying to be the first one to land a knockout. Because then once you knock somebody out, it's easier to pick them up and chuck them.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
And then they could wake up while you're doing it, and then obviously they can
wriggle and start punching you underneath and trying to headbutt you and stuff.
And knock you out.
That sounds fun.
It's fucking amazing.
Okay.
It's just
the physics
ridiculous.
is hilarious as well.
Yeah, because it's almost like QWOP physics.
Okay,
it's got that sort of not quite right physics to it. So, and we played. I mean, we must have played for about 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah,
and it was so much fun.
And Kat playing.
Yeah, and we were just we were chucking each other out of lifts, trying to jump into like the hatch that comes down from the top of a lift car. We're trying to jump on those to jump across to the next one to try and land a diving headbutt
as well.
Yeah, very much so.
It's definitely a good stupid party game.
Nidhogg just fucking breaks me.
Nidhogg's brilliant. Yeah, it's got that very much that sort of feel to it. But yeah, that's one as soon as I started playing it for about 10 minutes, I said we need to video this at some point because it'd be fucking amazing.
Let's do that.
I know you were saying you want to do more videos. Maybe we should
do it through Twitch. Maybe I've heard that's a thing.
I've heard Twitch is a thing.
Or we do a Twitch
bit like Elder Sign.
Bit like Elder Sign, yeah. Bit like Elder Madness.
If we can work out how to do it, we can do a Twitch broadcast around my house.
There you go. That works. So again, if people want to hear it, people want to see it, let us know.
Yeah,
that's a good one to say. Game Beasts, I would be well up for doing something like that. I'd just be up for playing it more because it's just so much fun.
Yeah, totally. That sounds interesting.
There was the one that sticks in my head is still the same one as it was the other night when we were sitting laughing about it and falling off our chairs like twats. The fight thing hits and I run up the stairs, pick up an old lady and throw her into a fire. And I'm just this random bloke.
Also in the game.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, you full on Palpatine, though.
Which is, it's nice I can get these things out in the game because a court order says I mustn't do them in real life. But yeah, I just full on just chucked her into the fire. And it was one of those ones where if I'd thrown it and a couple of inches shy, she would have just bounced. But she just cleared the edge of the thing and just landed perfectly in the fire. And it was just oh god, we laughed so hard that night. It's just ridiculous.
I couldn't fucking breathe.
Yeah.
Didn't breathe at all.
Right, fighting in the trucks, and there'd be one person on top of the trucks watching two people just punch the fuck out of each other in the car, and then they both fall out because reasons.
I want to play this game.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What's it called?
Gang Beasts. It's a weird name, but it's an awesome game.
It's quite expensive.
It sounds like a poor Japanese translation.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
No, it's a Double Fine published game, like a Tim Schafer published.
Okay.
But then it's not his developing studio, but they published it, and I think they recognise that it's one of those games like Overcooked, so it's just going to be a fun romp.
Yeah.
Like Team 17 and Double Fine seem to be publishing all the fun stuff because Escapist 2 comes out next week.
Oh, cool!
It's coming out on Switch day and date. I'm tempted to get it.
Okay, I still never played the first one. I
played a bit of the first one. I was going to make it an E14 video, which is like how quickly can I break out of this prison. I realised I fucking suck at the game. It wouldn't be fun for people to watch because it was barely fun for me to play. I was just, unless you like,
it's just you having a grueling several years in prison.
Basically, I just served my sentence.
He basically just Shawshanks it.
Yeah,
very very slowly. This goes using a spoon.
Sometimes he wins, sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, but just basically, otherwise it would just be watching me get butt fucked, literally and metaphorically. But yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes, we do have. We have two more because a couple of people asked the same question, so we'll kind of go with that.
Okay.
So the first question is from Alex, who emailed in the Crazy Train asking a bits and piece about wrestling. No. Do you have a game that's a guilty pleasure?
That's covered Gang Beasts. So.
Gang Beasts, yeah.
Is that guilty pleasure?
In terms of it's.
Isn't a guilty pleasure either something you know is crap but you enjoy anyway, or something people would be surprised to discover you're into?
Yes, but I would say on a technical level, Gang Beasts is a guilty pleasure because it's quite
shonky.
It's quite shonky, but in terms of fun, it's not a guilty pleasure at all. It's just a pleasure.
Cool. Mine's Cooking Fever on the iPad.
Okay.
It's root beer tapper type,
like Dynasty style.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
But my daughter totally spaces out and just watches it. So when I want her to keep quiet, I'll play a couple of rounds of that because it's pretty easy. It's pretty bright. It's quite enjoyable as well.
Yeah.
And it just zones her out. So
ultimately,
my cry now is whenever my wife wants a bit of a break for a baby, I was like, yeah, come on, Ray, we're going to go and check on our culinary empire.
Yeah.
And we've just bought an ice cream parlour. It's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Dream big.
Our little culinary empire.
Yeah. Nice.
That's a fun one to do.
Like,
and you don't expect. It's one of those ones that you can actually do stuff by grinding. I haven't hit a paywall yet.
But ultimately, very few games actually have proper paywalls. Most of them are just if you're prepared to grind, you can play for as long as you want.
Yeah.
Same with like Plants vs Zombies 2. Yeah. All the stuff that's free to play, but without purchases, you can do it without if you want to.
Yeah.
Like Galaxy of Heroes, you can buy. When I first played it, I bought a pack that included Greedo, but you can also get him through just getting the tokens.
They kind of make you can get the tokens, but then they kind of fudge for probability so that it feels pretty near impossible to do it without. I had this
discussion with
Dino
once about this.
I haven't felt that way about Cooking Fever at all. I've always been able to get some diamonds.
Me and Ima have had this discussion before. Like my feeling on it is, I don't mind paying for games if I pay for currency that's designed to use for things like retries. I expect that retry to succeed because I paid for it.
Yeah, totally.
If it's just a question of it just gives you another go at fucking it up.
Yeah.
Throughout the game, as you get a lot further into the game and it gets more difficult, that's bullshit.
Yeah, totally.
For me, that's when I stopped playing.
Yeah,
he carried on with the game because it was Jurassic Park, but I stopped.
Yeah.
That's what put me off.
I must admit, I will normally, with mobile games, I don't know why, because I just find them as like little throwaway things I play for a little while. I don't ever...
But people work really hard on.
Heavily invested in them. I don't tend to throw money at them one I'm playing at the moment is South Park's Phone Destroyer.
Oh, the Phone Destroyer, yeah.
Which I'm actually enjoying. And again, I feel like
it's
I've
basically
played
an adult Pokemon Go.
It's that and Pokemon Go are the two games I've been playing.
I've heard of it. The South Park's basically an adult version of Pokemon Go.
Not really, no.
Sorry, guys, Pokemon Go isn't an adult's game.
It's not been.
It's fine.
No, it's not really.
It's
like,
okay.
It's not like Pokemon Go in the sense that it's artificial reality.
It's like
or
a tapper,
anything.
right?
It's basically it's like one of these. It's like one of these strategy games where you're dropping men in to beat up another guy, basically.
Right.
Okay.
But it might be like the WWE one, because the WWE one that I played was like a tap. It's like a tapper. It's one of those idle tappers. So the idea is that you set it up to make as much money as possible without your input, and then you can also join in to build it up even faster.
Yeah, okay.
And there was this really cool WWE one. I forget what it's called. It's relatively recent. Mm-hmm. And you would assemble a team of like 5 wrestlers, 4 at the sides and your main one. So it might be like, you might be Seth Rollins or whatever. Yep. Or you might be a completely original character, and then you've got 4 wrestlers at the sides who are just pummeling the big wrestler in front of you. It's like every level, it's like, you fight Finn Balor and you fight Sheamus and you fight the Big Show, and then for the boss you fight Mark Henry and he's way more powerful, things like that. But it's just idle tapping. So every character you fight has a time limit, or the bosses do. If you don't beat them within that time limit, you just have to go back to the start of the round. So it's like I think it's done in like waves of 10.
Okay.
I thought it might be something like that.
No,
it sounds
Phone
like
Destroyer is more like, I suppose, a sort of strategy game. You have a series of cards with different characters and a power usage for you to bring them into the game, which slowly charges up as you're...
Okay.
So it's obviously more of a strategy to, obviously more powerful cards obviously are more devastating, but obviously you've got to make sure you have the energy to use them.
Yeah.
You sort of... There's 2 different modes. There's a sort of a story mode where you're sort of fighting waves of enemies, but it's basically, it follows along the similar of the video games where you're like the new kid, but the kids are playing a different thing, and they, it starts off with them playing cowboys and Indian kids fight each other, but as it goes on, it goes into like a sci-fi one. So you got some kids dressed as aliens or something. Dressed like, I think Token's a Klingon, for example, in one of them and stuff like that.
Which Klingon?
And Clyde's a xenomorph, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
right then.
And it goes on. It gets more ludicrous. I think there's a religion one later, and then
one of them dresses like Ludacris.
And it does go to the fantasy ones from Stick of Truth.
Oh, cool.
And I think it goes for played that far. But there is a PvP mode where basically you have 1 people on the other side and you're playing that, and you're trying, basically you're going to get to them and beat them. But you have tanks and flying guys and all. So it's quite different to like a Tapper or Pokemon Go. Yeah. But I mean, whilst again you can buy cards to become more level up quicker, I've been enjoying the grind of it, really.
Yeah. So guilty pleasures? Game here.
Yeah. I suppose in a way, because it's not particularly a popular game anymore, I suppose I still do play Pokemon Go. It is my sort of walking to work game. And it's my sort of my thing to play. But I mean, I've had people at work going, oh, I've seen you being bored sitting outside the station. What are you doing? And I'm like, taking down a gym.
Big gym slave.
I was just like, well, I'm here early. I've got 20 minutes to kill. I might as well play my game while I'm waiting for work. So, I suppose Pokemon Go would be probably my guilty pleasure. In terms of a game that I've always loved, that I've always thought has been my go-to game if I've had a really shit day, it's always been Dynasty Warriors.
Okay, and that could be a kind of chunk.
Which I suppose aren't the best games in the world, but I love them because it's like, how do I get over it? Sometimes you can stick on a particularly heavy album if you're really pissed off or whatever. But there's nothing like if you had a really, or a violent movie, but nothing really settles me.
School.
Then, or shooting up school. But nothing really gets me.
The cast of the E14 Gamecast do not endorse any of the above as a way of relieving stress. You do you, boo-boo, but please keep it legal. Message ends. Carry on.
But, playing Dynasty Warriors and wiping out 500 people in an epic combo is always...
The problem I always have with Dynasty Warriors is the levels always felt 10 minutes too long. I'd gotten bored long before the...
I'd never say I play Dynasty Warriors for a massive length of time.
They just always felt over long.
Yeah,
I enjoyed them, but it was always just like, oh, come on, let me get to a save point now.
Yeah, I played Warriors Orochi and had that problem because it was a free game that came out on Xbox. I think PS4 got a version. Similar sort of thing, but it's just it didn't really grab me at all. Like, if I want to play a game where I'm just beating the crap out of peons, I've got plenty of games for that.
Like 2K18 on Switch.
Apparently so. Yeah. If I want to beat them slowly, that's the best way.
Yeah, I want to beat up peons.
I want to play as the phenomenal AJ Styles. What's fucking Lloyd Grossman doing WWE? The phenomenal AJ Styles.
I'll play the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
Gloria.
Oh my god! Speaking of that, fucking hell, that reminds me.
So the
music is up to speed in the game, but the animations are not on the entrance. Now they've baked into the animations crowd chants in time to the music for Shinsuke, Bobby Roode, anybody who's got
a big song,
some sort of big song where it's like the Shinsuke thing, they just sing along to the violins and stuff. And Glorious, obviously they do the Glorious, and they actually sing along with the song. Unfortunately, because it's 2K18 on the Switch, the crowd chants are ever so slightly later than the music is. So it's just like Glorious. It's like they've all woken up and gone, I'm playing, I'm singing too.
I won't give in.
I won't give in either. No, do you notice how he's not giving in? I'm not giving in either. I like that song. It's just that everybody's just trying a bit too hard. Yeah. Especially, I say, it's just ever so slightly off. There's just, I say, a fun aside that I noticed that. You know, but it also takes them 3/4 of their fucking teams on to get to the ring.
You'd think they would have put the soundtracks together if you'd over that bit.
Yeah, you'd think they'd have looked over
programmed to that entrance.
Yeah, but I don't know. But in any case,
they didn't just bother up changing what was needed for the Switch release.
What ultimately, I think,
direct to port.
I think happened is they rushed it for Christmas.
Okay.
Because they released a patch after Christmas in just about 5 or 6 days before that apparently made it loads better. It's still not quite right, but I think they rushed it.
Okay.
It just strikes me as something where previously
when Nintendo wrestling had kind of been their own thing. Am I right in thinking that? They've kind of been custom built for
probably
console.
The last one was probably All-Stars.
Because Nintendo certainly probably since Wii probably started it. They've always kind of like pushed the gimmick side of it, whereas the PS1 and the Xbox have pushed for tech more. As a result, which on paper, the PlayStation and Xbox have always been more powerful than the Nintendo.
It's not
console.
just on paper; it's also the specs are higher. What happens is Nintendo just work around that, and they go, okay, well,
neither. I'm not saying either approach is wrong. No. But that has always been, and whenever Nintendo consoles. So when you see a direct port like that, do you think that's as a result of a tech being underperforming?
No, because
if every other wrestling game has been custom built for that, you didn't get SmackDown on the N64, you got No Mercy or Road to WrestleMania, whichever one it was. They always have their own one.
I get the feeling they did kind of develop it with the Switch in mind, because they did a couple of things, like they reduced the number of concurrent wrestlers in the ring from 8 to 6. Because on the Xbox and PS4 version, you can get 8 in the ring. You just imagine it would be like a fucking flipbook.
Yeah.
And it would also be a flipbook you'd have to do manually.
Yeah.
So they've done some considerations for the Switch version, but maybe they've been a bit ambitious.
Okay.
But I also think that you probably, if you're a software tester in that company, you're probably tearing your hair out going, guys, please look at this performance. Please look at this frame rate.
Yeah.
Because it is just enough that it's noticeably worse.
Yeah,
it's just, it's not breaking, because you still, as long as you can sort of account for it, you can still time your reversals, and I can still hit them. If anything, I hit them more than when I was playing on a normal speed game. The submission system's still bullshit by default, but thankfully I just don't get put any submission moves, and problem solved. Because in the past I've played 2K16, and Omer will attest to this, because I've texted him before, and it'd be like, I just tapped to an arm bar.
Was it against Zack Sabre Jr.?
No, it was Tyler Breeze.
Who?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like an arm bar. I tap to that 4 seconds into the match because I don't know how to work the fucking submission system.
There seems to be a series of mini games now, wrestling games.
The
more so than your average Yakuza game.
The reversal,
which is a cross between playing Grand Theft Auto and spending the night on Newgrounds.
Wow, high praise indeed. Are you done with guilty?
Prove me wrong.
Done with guilty pleasures? Because 2K18 is only a passing guilty pleasure.
Yeah, no, you do yours now.
Earth Defense Force.
Oh yeah,
Earth Defense Force you'd love it because it's basically just a B movie. The game. Cool. You play as a group of soldiers.
I would also
taking down
agree
giant,
that the levels,
insects.
Okay.
Yeah. The levels can again.
That's my readership.
I do think the levels can feel a little bit too long sometimes.
I agree. I think basically you have to be lucky in terms of not going off too far down one corner of the map and taking out a couple of bugs over there and then realising that all the other ones are over the other fucking side of the map. The maps are a bit too big, that's the only thing. Yeah. But the gameplay is hilariously broken on some of the older versions. But it's still playable, but it's just like buildings fall down after like they get brushed against and they collapse, and if you're on top of it, you're coming down with it, but you're fine. Yeah. You can just fall off a building and that's fine. Just land on your feet, no issue.
I feel like I missed the whole thing because I remember everyone going, "Oh, you should play these games." They're hilarious.
Yeah,
and then I picked up
Shadows of Despair or something like that.
Despair or something. Incredibly Japanese.
Yeah, Sunspear to Destiny,
and I thought it was fun and stupid,
Alpha.
and definitely very B-movie-esque because you're fighting giant ants.
Yeah,
and giant robot stuff.
I mean, that's my day job.
Yeah.
Yet.
I didn't think it was as I was expecting it to be really like buggy and poor, and it wasn't as.
The newer games, I think, have missed the boat, and what they've done is they've gone, "Oh, people like this shonky gameplay," but they fixed all the bugs, so it's not as much fun anymore. Because like if in a B movie, here's a good example: this Tommy Wiseau movie, The Room.
Yeah.
Right now, if that was a $100 million budget with crap dialogue, you'd give it a pass because it probably looks amazing. Because we do this with movies all the time. We give it it's like, oh, it's not terrible. Yeah. There's something to like about it. Oh, it looks really good. Yep. That sort of thing. Because it's $6 million and it's still so bad, and it's an indie film, it's like it seems to add something to it. That the combination of broken and still enjoyable somehow. I don't know. I don't really understand it. Certainly don't think he belongs anywhere near fucking Star Wars like some people seem to think.
Who's this?
Tommy Wiseau, basically, his whole gimmick is he's bad at his job.
He's terrible at his job.
Yeah. So I don't want him anywhere near Star Wars.
I'm not a huge fan of when they could try and make intentionally bad movies.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I really like. There's no greater pleasure in this world to have than watching a bad movie with your friends.
No, it's a great time.
And I would much rather a movie absolutely cut loose and have a lot of fun with it. Like I think Sharknado is a good movie in that regard, right? Because it wasn't trying to be a bad movie; it was trying to be a ridiculous movie.
Yeah,
and that worked.
I see.
Some of them where they intentionally punch under their weight in an attempt to be that kind of post-pub, wow, what a shonky movie.
Yeah,
that's when they don't work.
It's almost like. Do you remember when Lonely Island became big and suddenly it was a race to the bottom on who could make the worst rap music?
Yeah,
and it wasn't. I don't mean like in terms of genuinely bad stuff. It was like people going out of their way to be deliberately bad.
Yeah,
it's like it doesn't work. You're not getting the. It's almost like you've missed the joke.
Yeah,
the reason they don't work is it's high production, but it's silly.
Yeah,
but it's not bad.
No, totally.
It just sounds silly. It just sounds silly because it's designed to sound silly. It's actually really good.
What's happening?
Yeah, comedy lyrics, but it's also really good music. If you listen to some of it, there's some really nice put together composed stuff.
Yeah, I love the B movies which are desperately trying to be ridiculous and are just running and having fun with it. So stuff like that, I think stuff like Sharknado, I think is doing that, and it's doing it very well. But you get some, it tends to be the horror kind of cheap slasher stuff or the torture porn stuff, doesn't it? It's just like you are just making a bad movie and hoping people react to, oh my god, these special effects are awful.
Yeah,
and that's it. There is an amusement value there, but it's not quite the same as witnessing an old movie where they've desperately tried to be good and the effects have aged, or it was much lower budget than they wanted it to be. That's always funny. And it's people when people try and punch under their weight in an attempt to capture that market.
Yeah,
that's when I'm not a fan of it.
It can be magical, like Rise of the Animals.
They can. This is true.
Rise of the Animals. See, I don't think that was trying to be ridiculous. I think that was just a genuinely bad movie. There was something about Rise of the Animals, which
I don't know. It's a bit with the bloody puppet.
No, watching that, there was a vibe of they think this is good. because with Rise of the Animals, the story was tight. There were no set pieces put in for ridiculous sake. They
Not
put
the
in
gorilla then.
No, but they found a 3D model of a gorilla which they thought looked okay.
Well,
there's something about Rise of the, and sometimes it's kind of intangible. You just kind of pick up on a vibe. And there's something about Rise of the Animals which tells me the makers thought it was good. Whereas with Sharknado, the ludicrousness is a high point, like when we're in the guy's house and the downstairs gets flooded and they're all on the stairs and just this shark fin goes past, or jumping through the air with a chainsaw and sliding, cutting a shark in half so you can rescue your ex-girlfriend.
Still across about that.
Yeah, but that was...
Not really.
But that wasn't trying to be serious and doing it badly.
Yeah.
It wasn't
deliberately
shitty
OTT.
effects for a sake. It was being ludicrous.
Yeah.
And that's
I suppose,
why they're fun.
Obviously Sharktopus is similar.
Sharktopus is just Roger Corman still being Roger Corman after 50 years.
And,
Roger Corman's never stopped being Roger Corman.
This is true. For better or worse.
Zombievers is definitely on the ludicrous scale.
I like Zombievers is a perfectly fine... There's something about Zombievers made me think of Creepshow for some reason. It had the 80s horror vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like when people just try and intentionally be crap, because that to me is with a little bit of effort you could make a wonderful parody here, and that would be worth watching.
Yeah, it's like Deadly Tower of Monsters, isn't it? That's
the send up of B movies.
Send up of B movies, but it's done in such a clever way, because it's the gameplay's relatively tight, but it's pretty basic.
Yeah,
but as a result, it works fine.
Felt like an Amiga game for some reason.
Yeah, I'll go with that
kind of vibe.
Yeah. But Earth Defense Force, for me, it lost a little bit of its luster as they started to make them technically more sound.
As a quick aside, people who do like cutscenes and special effects, where there seems to be a trend recently to put like a mock VHS effect over it. Now, do they remember VHS being a lot worse than it actually was? Because they all seem to really over-egg it.
I think it's hard to convey what VHS was actually like to the modern kind of gamer.
You see it in like Kung Fury and the Turbo Kid as well. They do that kind of mock VHS. So I don't remember. Was there something wrong with your machine? Because I don't remember tracking being that big a problem.
How long did you watch this tape? How many times?
I don't remember tracking being this big a problem, guys.
Is this basically just from your bit of that particular bit from Fast Times at Ridgemont High? And you've just watched Phoebe Cates' tits bounce up and down, and up backwards and forwards, and it's ruined.
Under Siege.
That's it. Phoebe Cates?
Yeah.
I think Seagal started it.
Yeah, I think wasn't that copy of Under Siege pretty ruined at the birthday cakes?
Yeah.
Well,
I had a thing for Gary Busey when I was a kid. What can I say?
Like strong teeth and jaws.
Yeah.
Basically why we get along.
Jaws is my favourite movie.
There you go.
Strong teeth. And Jaws.
True story. Nice. The last question we had was from two people. So it was from Kat, and it was also from @TheLordTom on Twitter, who I think is our Tom from Liverpool HorrorCon.
Yeah.
I think he's got a new account. So
cool.
If it's not, then I apologise, other Tom. Tom asked most anticipated game for 2018, and Kat asked what games are you excited to play in 2018. She specifically includes tabletop. So if you pick one...
I've got nothing on my radar for 2018 apart from Resident Evil. Yeah.
Detroit?
Legion.
Is Detroit next year?
Sorry, I was thinking Taylor.
This year would be, for me, but in video game form, it would be...
if you just pick one.
Yeah, I mean, specifically...
Detroit would probably be my biggest one, although God of War, it would be...
See, that thing, God of War seems to not be getting a lot of...
Should have been here by now.
Seems to not be getting a lot of hype, and I'm disappointed.
It's got
God of War should have been here last Christmas, I'm sure.
Okay, maybe.
I don't know, something's delayed it or whatever.
Yeah, but no, Detroit, I thought we were getting October time last year, but real new.
The Eye of a Cage.
Yeah.
Because I like
how he pronounces it.
That's how I pronounce it.
Because I like the first one, Ni no Kuni as well.
Okay, fair enough.
She was in 70s show, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's the one.
It's a funny because it's pun on Topher.
So tabletop-wise, there's Star Wars Legion, right?
The Star Wars Legion I'm curious about. I don't know, I'm hyped for.
I'm not big on the price points. I've seen the price points for some of the pre-orders, and they're really, even on the sites that do discounts, they're really expensive.
Okay, if they've gone for the Armada budget factor, then not that bad.
Yep.
Will Halo Ground Combat ever be a thing?
I don't know. Fallout miniatures game is supposed to come out this year. The non-board game.
The Phidias one, yes.
Yeah.
Legion I'm kind of curious about, and unsure. I'm just keep my eye on the Arkham horror card games. I think that's really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's no big new releases. So there's a new Manchester Maze expansion, which obviously will all be over. Or Eldritch or whatever.
Here we go. So,
core set is probably about £100. I'd have thought.
Core set retails at 90, which is about for Fantasy Flight big box. That's about right. About normal. So the ATST is 40 quid after the discount on here. Yeah, I think it's at one ATST, I assume.
See, they're 15 quid in Imperial Assault.
47.99
for ATST
for retail. Yeah, one ATST.
Is that all that's in the box? Is one ATST
and the cards? Yeah, that's too much.
Pre-painted?
I don't believe it is. I don't think Legion is. I think Legion is assembly required.
Bear in mind, I mean, I don't know if you can buy the ATST on its own in Imperial Assault because it's in the main set, isn't it? But the General Vice ATST is about 15-20 quid. And I thought Imperial Assault and Legion were the same scale.
I think they're slightly off.
Okay, well, it's 28-32 or something.
Yeah, I think that is exactly it, actually.
I mean, the quality of the ATST and...
It's fine. There's some people run down the Imperial Assault minis. I've never had a complaint with them. I think they're fine.
I mean, the standard... So you go, the standard box set of troopers, like whether that's rebels or stormtroopers, is 7 for about 25 quid.
That's ridiculous considering what you get in an Imperial Assault set.
It's too damn high, especially when you consider that for now, for 25 quid, you can get a new Warhammer 40k starter with easy assembly. And all you have to do is paint them up.
You know why?
I don't.
Because GW have competition for the first time in their life.
Well, that's kind of nice, but at the same time, you feel like Fantasy Flight need to learn that fucking lesson.
Fantasy Flight have been the bad guys before, and they'll come back.
They won't get a Star Wars game competition though, because they got the monopoly.
Yeah,
but I mean,
Hasbro's got the monopoly. Oh. Hey, tabletop gaming joke.
And Star Wars monopoly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but you can buy extra Mario characters.
I always wondered what Princess Peach would do on Alderaan.
Not much.
Blow up.
Be destroyed. Yeah. So apart from that and Resident Evil, there's not really a lot to...
There's like 2 different Terminator games are supposed to drop.
Okay.
There's a Kickstarter for Terminator the board game, and then another company got rights for Terminator 2 the board game. So that's going to be interesting to see how those work. Batman the Animated Series HeroClix. Oh yeah, I'm
so fucking excited about those.
Yeah, I was about to mention that, but
on the Legendary front. I've only seen one title confirmed for Legendary. We're doing a Champions set, which is fine because we'll get new Ms. Marvel and there's Cho.
Something I saw.
So some of the characters that haven't come out yet. Yeah, it'd be nice to have them, but it's not an especially exciting set for me.
The new X-Men, isn't there, soon?
Yeah, X-Men HeroClix sets. I think Scott Porter's just started doing the unboxing videos already, so they're probably not far off. I mean, for the UK, they probably expect them 2020.
Yeah, I'm curious about the Trek ones.
Trek ones sound cool. I would get the starter, but I'm going to wait and get the Batman
starter sold through already, so if you see one, grab one.
What, sorry?
Starter kit is sold through already, so if you see one, grab one.
Okay, fair enough. We'll do. Because the Mighty Thor starter set was like gold dust. I managed to get one of those. Just enough to get the pack, 2017 updated rules and pack. Animated Series 1, I want that starter set so fucking bad.
Yeah, same.
Mainly because I think it's the first DC set since the new rules as well. So
I'm not a huge... I'm a big Batman fan in the sense that I like Batman and a lot of the characters. Yeah. I'm not a huge Batman fan in that I'm an expert and know everything.
Oh, no.
But that was my Batman growing up, was for the animated series.
Yeah.
For Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill.
I just feel like the more cartoony style might suit the sculpts and paint.
I know what you mean, actually. Yeah.
Hamill Joker, like the triangular face.
I think the contour and stuff will help.
Like, that's not fair. He went for a windscreen.
All right.
I thought it was the Womp. Oh, my world is destroyed.
Only since the Disney buyout.
Yeah. It made the windscreen crash legends. Yeah. Nice. But yeah, that's the big tabletop thing. For me is the animated series HeroClix. I might have to. I've been imposing no bricks on myself because I still have 2 to unbox for the toy box. I may have to break that rule for the animated series. I was tempted to break it for Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls because it has bombshell sculpts in it, but I managed to get a couple of those out of the boosters I did buy, so I don't have the urgency anymore. I feel like this year I want more from Marvel clicks, because last year's ones were kind of felt like they were a bit lacking. Particularly the 15th anniversary ones were kind of crappy.
What If set was a bit of a damp squib, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
we were all kind of hyped for that, and it got them through as if it was so shit.
Yeah, the DC ones are nice. The DC Elseworlds, they're pretty good.
Yeah, totally.
But the Marvel one, I don't know. I bought a couple, and I was like, cool. And then I've seen them reduced in Forbidden Planet. They reduced to like about 30% off.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested. Like, if it was, like I say, if it maybe even I'd be tempted for the Uncanny X-Men just for a punt.
Mm-hmm.
And the Elseworlds ones, if they drop those, I'd be interested. But the What If ones, I'm just like, I'm not surprised they're cheaper. They're not as good.
Sure.
The starter set's cheap as well now, but it's only obviously it's the 2014 rulebook, but you do get the standard classic hero look for half a dozen people, which is always nice.
Yeah.
I mean, game wise, I don't know what's coming out this year. I'm really not up to speed at all. So I really don't know.
I can list off
UK19 on Switch.
This time it's patched.
I can't list much in terms of Switch games.
33 FPS.
Apart from Bayonetta 2.
There's a Nintendo Direct, I think, happening today as the time of recording, so we may get some announcements out of that, because they tend to do. They've gone a very different route in the terms of what they announce. They do like pre-recorded, like almost produced kind of television show episodes of like, this is what's coming out for Switch and 3DS and stuff.
That would be really nice since the Disney Fox acquisition.
Done.
Wouldn't it be lovely if they gave the Aliens license to Fantasy Flight?
That would be awesome.
Take it away from a shithead company who doesn't know what we're doing. I didn't say that. From a shithead company who doesn't know what they're doing with it, and just give it to a company who has a proven track record for making good licensed games.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, that would be cool. What was I going to say? There was another one.
Oh, app-driven.
I mean, in terms of PlayStation games that I'm aware of that are coming out, Ni no Kuni 2.
Days Gone?
Yeah, I don't know if that's this year or if that's going to...
I hope that's this year, because I want more Sam Witwer games. That'd be cool.
I love him.
And he's obviously
pretty cool.
Well. Yeah. I know Last of Us won't be
there.
No. Whenever he turns on Forcecast, it's not called Forcecast anymore, Rebel Force Radio.
Rebel Force Radio. He turns up on there occasionally, yeah.
Yeah,
he's cool. Like him.
I don't know, a Sea of Thieves, I suppose, for Xbox.
Oh, that's one I would like to play. If there's a way to play with bots or single player, because I don't... I could possibly do it as part of a squad. It's a pirate game, and you'll have a team of people.
I don't agree with pirating games.
Well, this one you can buy.
Got any pirate memory games?
not that I recall. The premise is basically you play with a team of, I think it's up to like 5 or 6, and you run a pirate ship together. So if somebody goes in the crow's nest.
It's a tabletop game that's really...
Oh, good.
It's called U-Boat.
Oh,
it's a 4-player co-op. You're all different positions on a U-boat.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, because there's a couple of U-boat games, like one-player games I really love, because they kind of have that full immersion role-playing. You're a captain of a U-boat, and I wouldn't have known half the shit I needed to know to write North Sea Hunters without playing these games, because the tech level is so good. And but the idea of a 4-player, one of you manning the periscope, one of you loading the torpedoes, one of you manning radar, it sounds so much fun.
That sounds pretty cool.
Sounds like an evil version of Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time.
It does, actually. Let's just come out for Switch.
Evil, but just not. Oh, no, sorry, yeah.
It's come out for Switch as well.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to buy it.
Evil Nazis.
No, Lovers in
I
Dangerous
found out
Space
you can play that with more than 2 people. So
we should probably get an episode 2 of that recorded.
Yeah.
The search for Space Dog continues. I thought of a tabletop thing. Blood Bowl, Dark Elves.
Yeah.
Get on your ship,
just keep churning out with Blood Bowl stuff.
Yeah.
Blood Bowl seems kind of like their dark horse, and they kind of... I get the impression G-Dub brought Blood Bowl back because people were going, bring Blood Bowl back, Blood Bowl back. And they were kind of hoping they could bring it out and can kind of go, no one's buying it, we discontinued it again, go back to buying 40k in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
But it took off quite well, and GW seemed a little bit annoyed it's taken off, which is why I think they dragged their feet with the figures a little bit. They're kind of like, maybe. It is making money, so we've got to keep doing it, but at the same time we kind of wish it wasn't, so we can make people buy what we want them to buy.
Right. Yeah. What's the reviews like on Necromunda?
It's been a total damp squib.
Really?
No, I've not heard anyone.
It looks cool.
I've not heard of anyone who's played it. I don't know anyone who's playing it.
I've seen like the models and stuff. I've seen the box up models in like local game shops.
I'm not saying it's bad. I've heard nothing. It came out and just came out, and that was it. It was just a limp-wristed wank. There was no. No one I know is playing it. No one I know is painting it. I don't know anyone who's bought it.
There's no passion. It's like not even a swapping hands helps. Are we still talking about the wank?
Arm. It's just, it's just. It came out and that was it. There was no. I keep hearing rumours they're going to bring back Epic, which now I'm a grown up, I'm able to afford to play.
But they might whinge about that.
It's Horus Heresy Epic.
Speaking of things I've heard might get brought back, I've heard rumblings of a new Perfect Dark this year.
Nice.
Might bring that back for Xbox One, which might... Because Perfect Dark 1 is obviously a classic, and Perfect Dark 0 is fine. It's a bit of a... I can imagine it was a bit of a disappointing launch game because it's not all that, but it's perfectly enjoyable. It's just not like a system like, I have to have the console to play this. It's like, it's only on this. Yeah.
It's no Halo.
No, exactly. Yeah. Then I think also Rare might have their eyes on a new Banjo game, possibly.
Banjo Hero.
Are these all rumours after they finish Sea of Thieves? Then I'm guessing.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, obviously, after that they got nothing else on. So you'd hope.
To be honest, I don't know what Microsoft are going to release.
I don't know either.
They've not announced any
because they've cancelled Scalebound because that was that Dragon Combat.
Out?
It might be this year, actually. If that's coming out this year, that's my answer across all categories. Crackdown 3 is my fucking most anticipated game of forever. I love that fucking series so much. And if it's got the cloud stuff they were talking about with destructible, persistent online worlds, I'm so fucking in. Because that first game is so much fun, even without the ability to blow buildings up. It's just so over the top ridiculous. Like you said about like things that are ludicrous being fun, like being able to just run along and then leap tall buildings, just like vault over them and stuff, and being able to sprint down the street. And
what game was this?
Crackdown.
Okay.
The only reason not the only reason. The reason it sold so well was because it came bundled with the Halo 3 beta key.
Okay.
But it was a really fun game anyway. So it's like you got the feeling it would probably have sold quite well by word of mouth eventually, but they wanted to make sure it shifted a lot of copies on day one.
Zone of the Ender syndrome.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, Crackdown 1 is...
the game was all right.
On 360, that was probably one of my favourite games of the entire generation, and that was one of the earliest games of my 360 owning days.
Quite early on its life.
Yeah, it was relatively early. Well, I mean, it was before Halo 3. So.
Yeah, but apart from that, I've heard no more news about another big hitting game.
No, it's true. I mean, this is the thing. This is part of the problem is I don't know.
They're all going like, the Xbox One X.
Yeah, but give me a game that looks so good on it, I can't pass it up. It's like because at the moment, the only reason
I don't have a 4K telly anyway, so it's not really for me.
The only reason I'd get an Xbox One X now is if mine packed up, and that's the same with the PS4 and the Pro. To be clear, but if something broke, I'd replace it with the nicest one available. But other than that, I've got no interest in upgrading. Just because I'm, to be honest, I'm trying to get out of the habit of using disposable tech. Because when my phone contract runs out, I'm going SIM only, and then I'm going to run my phone into the fucking ground because it's a perfectly good phone. And I want to get out of that. I don't want to be in that mindset.
If my PS4 dies, I'll probably just buy a Slim. To be honest, because I thought if I've not got a 4K telly, I don't really see the point in having.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, technically, I know they do still upscale in 1080p, but not until a proper next gen.
My Resident Evil 2 Kickstarter is coming this year, so that's my tabletop answer. Playing more of my Fallout board game is my one I want to play more of in 2018.
Yeah, I'd like to play
It's a long game. We'd have to basically write off an afternoon evening to play it, so it'd be like a weekend thing or something.
Yeah.
Not a whole weekend, hopefully.
Lord of the Rings.
Basically, yeah. It's a decent size game. Plus, I'm still not 100% clear on the rules, so I'd have to be finding my way a little bit.
Have they left Rivendell yet? Bloody version of
last time we had War of the Ring. We split the Fellowship as soon as they left Rivendell. Sent Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli off to Erebor. Try and bring the dwarves. And we sent the rest of them through Moria. Pippin got split off from the gang when the Balrog pulled him down into the.
I want to watch your cut.
Oh yeah.
It
ended correctly.
We managed to. I think Gollum ended up leading Frodo and Sam through Mordor, which is double-edged sword, but
he
got there.
We destroyed the ring.
Yeah, but the weirdest bit was I don't think Aragorn left Erebor after that. He was just quite happy to sit in the Lonely Mountain and just smoke himself to death. Whereas Pippin...
He became the king of the dwarves rather than the king of men.
Pippin ended up joining forces with Lothlorien and leading a battle against the Orcs of Moria.
Didn't one of the other hobbits completely bitch slap Saruman as well? Because I thought, didn't we crush him?
Yeah.
Because we had the tree men help, obviously.
Oh, yeah, with Jens turn up, didn't we? Yeah, great. Good times. Good times.
Yeah,
great game.
Indeed.
It's an all-dayer, but it's such a great game.
Sounds like fun.
So.
Yeah, so
if Fallout's an all-dayer, then...
Yeah, I'd say it's probably a long evening. Mm-hmm. So like probably you start at like 5, 6 or something, and then play till like 10, 11. So probably get that through. And you'd be chatting away like we do, anyway.
We'll stream it.
Sorry?
We'll stream it.
Yeah, that works. So what else do I want to do? I want to play more HeroClix, mainly because a lot of the games we've been playing recently, a lot of the big games have been with character caps, and I've got some really nice pieces with higher non-capped.
Yeah,
that are well outside the cap. Like I've got a beautiful, just ridiculously nice sculpt, 200-point Harley Quinn as a red and black lantern.
Okay.
So she's got this fucking great translucent plastic arm just lobbing darts. And it's amazing. It's 200 points and I can't use it in a fucking game. Exactly 60 points above the cap we usually use. What we need is basically another one of those 600-point barn burners where we just bring our hardest hitters and just fucking
we had well, I did make noises that I wanted to use some of my new Colossals to that. So
what, like an Atlas?
Yeah.
100 ton. That's pretty colossal.
That's pretty colossal. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we can use that.
Mag Cat, maybe. As you were.
Yeah. I think he's hinting at
I don't know, yeah. It seems to be relatively hinting, yeah. So yeah, tabletop answer is Resi 2. Game answer is, if it comes out this year, Crackdown 3, otherwise probably Detroit. If Cyberpunk... is it 2077, the Cyberpunk?
Oh, the Witcher...
if that comes out this year, I'll be so fucking in.
I have known very little about that game.
There's supposed to be a Big Trouble in Little China miniatures game this year, but I've heard nothing about it other than having seen a title logo. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, I really like the Legendary card game because it kind of captures the co-op, slightly chaotic feel of the movie. I'm not sure, in a way that I'm not sure a minis game would.
Yeah, that could probably be. It's probably a hard one to translate. Yeah,
unless it uses something like the Dragon Tides engine, I think that could work.
That's another one we need to play. I got that for Christmas. Stay Away. It's basically the card game.
Old.
Yep. I thought you might be.
Yep.
And the other one is just came to me and it's gone again. What were we just talking about before that? Before I got sidetracked.
No idea.
Literally just now.
Cyberpunk.
Flying cars, I imagine.
Flying cars, no. Cyberpunk. So we're talking about Cyberpunk 2077. And then my brain went somewhere else. No. That HeroClix. That's irritating. That's irritating. That's appears to have some sort of episode.
Yeah,
it has been some sort of episode, isn't it?
Literally just now when Brad mentioned
a thing
Cyberpunk
card game. Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes, that's the other one I'm interested in. There's the DC deck building game is releasing a box called the Multiverse box with a set of cards inside that lets you work any set with every other thing, and it's also enough storage to store every card that's ever been produced. Yeah, so I'm quite tempted to pick one of those up. Yeah. There's also, I think there's a 2-player like skirmish set coming out that's just, it's not designed to be as heavy hitting as, it's more like a, if the DC deck building game is like an LCG, then it would be like a cut down 2-player skirmish version that's just like the Game of Thrones, what they did with the Game of Thrones LCG, where they had the sort of the big box that was super confusing and I still haven't fucking figured out. And then they've got the 2-player cut down, just play Starks against Lannisters and beat the piss out of each other.
You play the Bloodborne card game?
Haven't, no. Like I might do, yeah. I saw the Dark Souls board game for the first time on the shelf today, and the box is fucking enormous.
It is.
Yeah. It looks amazing.
Someone's got it.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I know 2 people who's got it.
Is it you and you?
And Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Croucher's got it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course he is.
Because he's into that sort of From Software stuff. Basically, he demanded, actually, because he's so into From Software, he demanded that when they delivered it to him, they hit him in the face with it. And it just said, "You are dead." Yeah. Imprinted on his forehead for like 4 days. Anyway, Kat and Tom, I hope that has answered your question about our most anticipated games of 2018. And I hope that everybody who asked questions about the games this episode has got the answers they desire.
Mm-hmm. Or deserved.
Or deserve.
Yeah.
But you're the audience we need right now. So if you have enjoyed what you're been listening to, then you can subscribe over on any of the following platforms. So we're on Libsyn, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play Music. I'm working on Echo.
The Dolphin?
No, as in the devices.
Oh, yeah.
Working on that. Maybe that will come good. I've got getting some help from the Britpop.
Are we on Google Home then?
I guess if we're in the Play Store, we
Must be.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'll try it.
Yeah. Let us know how that goes.
Yeah.
So you can find us on any of those. We're also on YouTube. We get full episodes of the podcast there, and obviously you can check out the number of we don't have a lot of gaming videos, but what's there is on YouTube.
Yep.
On Emotionally 14's YouTube channel. Everything is available on emotionally14.com, including the other podcasts, Crazy Train. Now the Brick Fury and E14 Toy Box YouTube series are both going to be on there, so you're going to get double your clicks fix. Guys, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at Harmer the Appreciator. You can find me on Facebook, and you can find me on Twitter at
Fuck's sake, Blake, speak up, you cunt.
Brad?
You can search for Brad Harmer Barnes on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RealBradHB. You can follow my own website at bradharmerbarnes.com, but please don't look right now because it's in a fucking state. And you can also buy my books through Amazon and Audible.
Yes, and you can buy those from the Emotionally 14 store.
You certainly can.
You can also...
Please do.
Yeah, so on the website...
Now.
Yeah, do it. Go do it. In fact, yes, do it now.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Ask Alexa to buy it for you.
Yeah. I've already bought them, so it'll just be like, do you want to gift it or what? It's digital. I mean, or you can send a print one like some sort of fucking savage. You can also on the website now, so you can find affiliate links for the TeePublic store. So there's Amazon, so you can use Amazon to shop for your video games, your tabletop games, and anything you want to buy. And we get a little bit of love for it. It doesn't cost you any extra, and it gives us a couple of pennies in referral fees. And I do mean fucking pennies. Sometimes it doesn't give them to you. That's another story for a different rant. You can also now buy Humble Bundle keys using Emotionally 14. So you can go on the website. We're an official Humble partner. So you can go on the website, buy your Humble keys. We are currently donating to cancer research because it asked me to define one, and that's the first one I found. I'm good with that if everybody else is happy. And you can buy Humble Bundles from Emotionally 14. You can also buy from Bundle Stars from a different link, admittedly, but it's still there. And you can buy all these wonderful things at no extra cost to you via Emotionally 14. Help us keep the lights on. Proverbially, they are fine. Yeah. Although I could theoretically buy Bibles from Amazon.
Yeah.
With the credit, so
discount.
You could put the light. You could keep the lights on in the very literal sense as well.
Yeah. Welcome to the Candlelit Cast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because fuck spotlights. Yeah. Anyway,
pork by torchlight.
Yes, indeed. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RobWadeVision, and you can find everything else I do that's not Emotionally 14 at talkstarwars.co.uk. It's way less than I do here, but then that's because this is my thing.
Yep.
And
it's damn good.
I'm a contributor on Talk Star Wars.
Yeah. Whereas this is your stamping ground.
This is it. This is,
E14 represent.
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
wicked.
Thanks for listening to the E14 Gamecast. Bibbidi Bop Games.
That's rolling sound.
Wah, wah.